Good. Here I am today, my good friend and brilliant inspirational doctor, Dr. Tim O'Shea, creator of the 60-day program and the Doctor Within, and the chiropractor author. I think it's been, what, 20 different printings, or?
I've lost count, Doc.
It's the best reference. And if you have anybody that has questions, the way his book is laid out is fact, reference, fact, reference, fact, reference. World traveler, lecturer, buddy, God bless you. I'm glad. Thank you for making it again. Part 2.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bergman, for letting me tell people about the 60-day program. Now, this is just going to be a very short introduction to this program of detoxification. It consists of, the 60-day program consists of a very simple, clean diet. So for 60 days, we're going to stop eating trash, and then also 7 supplements. And each one of those supplements we'll discuss very briefly. So I noticed when I was first in practice, after a few years, I noticed I was adjusting subluxations, clearing out the spine, but I noticed that after a few years that people were still getting sick and gaining weight and coming down with various imbalances. And I began to realize that there was another component to optimum health besides just keeping people subluxation free. And that was kind of the beginning of my climb every mountain nutritional research phase, which is still going on today after all these years, right? But I was in libraries all over the world, did a lot of traveling, and I was fortunate enough at that time to actually meet some of the top people in the world in specific areas of nutrition. And these people became my mentors. The first one of these was Dr. Stan Bynum. He was president of National Enzyme Company, and later he founded his own company in Arizona. And he taught me the science of enzyme nutrition as well as live cell analysis. My next mentor was Dr. Richard Anderson, the premier expert on colon detox. Next after that was Kem Shahani, MD, the world's expert on probiotic nutrition, University of Nebraska. Then, of course, there was Dr. Patrick Flanagan, the creator of the antioxidant, which we will talk about. And finally, the Ashmeads, the doctors Ashmeads in Clearfield, Utah, the creators of chelated minerals. So you see then, the 60-day program is not my creation, but rather a collaborative effort drawing from the life work of some of the top minds across the entire field of nutrition. I was trained. Okay, so now let's talk about the diet part of the 60-day program just very briefly. The short version of the diet is this. For 60 days, stop eating trash. So there's no refined carbohydrates for 60 days, no white sugar, no white flour. Secondly, there are no hydrogenated oils for 60 days. You have to learn to read labels. So you must learn to read all the labels of the foods that you eat for 60 days, and that's how you'll know what hydrogenated oils, how they're represented on labels. Next, no pasteurized dairy for 60 days. The definition of pasteurized dairy, as you know, is milk has been heated to the point where all enzymes are denatured. At that point, this traditional, nutritious human food is changed into a sensitizing allergen. So for 60 days, no milk, cheese, butter, ice cream, or yogurt if it's pasteurized. Okay, so what do we eat? Well, the short version of this is, for 60 days, your primary foods will be organic fruits, vegetables, and juices, organic meats, fish and seafood, whole grains, and a little raw dairy, And then, of course, as much as 2 liters of water per day, because, of course, if we're going to detox, we must be hydrated. Now, this is just an introduction to this chapter, The New West Diet, so please read the whole thing at The Doctor Within. All my mentors agreed on one thing. They all agreed that people should be taking the least number of supplements possible, spending the least amount of money possible on supplements, and yet still providing the body everything that it needs for keeping the digestive tract and the bloodstream clear of debris, as well as providing the nutrition for all the cells of your body. So in that vein, the 60-day program only consists of 7 supplements. So we're going to discuss each one very briefly here. The first one is digestive enzymes. Now, my teacher in this field was, of course, Dr. Stan Bynum. He was the world premier expert on enzyme nutrition. And Bynum taught us that there are 2 types of foods, those which cleanse us and those which clog us. So all my mentors agreed on this fact that 80% of the population has an 80% processed foods diet. What's the definition of processed food? Well, of course, that's processed foods are those that have had the enzymes scientifically removed for one reason and one reason only: shelf life. So the problem with that is, with no enzymes, the processed food accumulates in our stomach, small intestine, and large intestine, and then makes its way into the blood. It cannot be metabolized because there are no enzymes in it. So in a detox program, we have to take digestive enzymes in order to add back the enzymes that have been removed by food processing. So Dr. Bynum's life work was studying and formulating the best digestive enzymes possible. So we still use his formula today. It's called Digestive. The patient takes 3 capsules 3 times a day for 60 days. It's a broad spectrum enzyme. That means it digests fats, proteins, carbohydrates, as well as fiber. And this is to keep the tract and blood clear. Digestive is not something you have to believe in like Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. No, because Bynum taught me the science of live cell analysis, and he had a particular way of doing it. You would take a drop of blood from the patient, you would look at it on the microscope, you would videotape it, you would see the imbalances or the problems in the blood, and then you would give the patient 3 enzymes, wait 30 minutes, and retest. And in the vast majority of cases, you would see a marked improvement after 30 minutes. Now the blood cells were no longer clogged together. Now they were able to flow freely through the arterial system. So in the 60-day program then, in order to maintain this free flow of blood cells, you take 3 caps of Digestive 3 times a day for 60 days. This was just the briefest introduction to this area. Please read the entire chapter on The Doctor Within entitled Enzymes, the Key to Longevity. It's all the science. The second supplement was Total Florobiotics. Now, I don't know about you, Dr. John, but I spent my entire chiropractic school experience, I never heard the word probiotics once. And so I was so fortunate to meet the top expert in the world on probiotics. This was Kem Shahani, MD, published in JAMA like 25 times, University of Nebraska. Here's what Shahani always said. Since 80% of the population has an 80% processed food diet, one consequence of that is most people live their lives with no gut flora. The normal healthy person should have as many as 3 pounds of good bacteria in the colon all the time. Up to 400 species of bacteria are actually good for us. So I hope all you germaphobes out there are paying attention, right? Like any legitimate scientist, Shahani recognized the classical principle that the colon is the center of the immune system. But what makes it the center of the immune system is the presence of best probiotics. And this is why chronic allergies are so prevalent. And it's a true epidemic in this country. Lack of gut flora. So what do most people do when they have allergies? They go to the doctor and they start taking antibiotics. Here's the problem. If antibiotics are going to work, they work in the first few weeks. If they don't work after that, you don't keep on taking antibiotics for months and years after that, because all you're doing is suppressing your immune system by killing your normal gut flora. The people with chronic allergies who want to try a different path, they will begin to flood their colon with best probiotics. And what these people discover is that their allergies will likely resolve. So in the 60-day program, you are taking 3 total florobiotics 3 times a day. And we're still using Dr. Shahani's formula because there's never been anything better. His symbiotic blend of 11 probiotics. You can see them here. So please read the entire description of this at the Doctor Within. Next comes Expel. So Dr. Richard Anderson was certainly the premier expert on colon detox when I was putting this program together, and he was my mentor. He was a genius and an expert and spent his life researching colon detoxification and the physiology of the colon. So the agenda here of the 60-day program is, of course, clearing the tract and clearing the blood. Because the colon is the center of the immune system, if it's clogged up with debris our whole life, our immune system becomes suppressed. And why is this? Because the processed foods that we're shoving down our throat all day, day after day, year after year, we can't metabolize it. We can't break it down. And once it gets into the colon, it is deposited in layers of indigestible sludge all along the walls of the colon, right? So Anderson would tell us that the normal human should have a colon that's 2 inches in diameter, right? But people who eat all these chips, fries, and donuts every day of their life for years and years, they can have a colon that's expanded to 12 inches in diameter, most of that diameter being taken up by the layers of sludge. So it accumulates for months and years in people, and this certainly explains why colon cancer has been the number 3 cancer for the past 45 years, right? So we use a 600-year-old herbal formula. It's called Expel. You take 3 or 4 cups at dinner time, right? And this chips away the layers of sludge day by day for 60 days. And when people first start taking it, a lot more comes out of them every day than they're used to. And then for many people, at one point, an enormous amount is going to come out one day. So that's really good news, right? Because once the colon is clean, only then can the flora finally begin to proliferate to produce their normal 3 pounds in the healthy person. So believe me, this is just the merest introduction to this science, and the rest of the science you can look at, and please read this chapter, Journey to the Center of Your Colon, at the Doctor Within. Next we have the antioxidant. Now the story, this is Dr. Patrick Flanagan. The story goes that he spent 12 years in his lab in Sedona evolving this 43-step process in order to bind H- ions to a mineral carrier. And the purpose of this is to reduce free radicals. What is a free radical? As you know, it's an unstable molecule missing an electron, right? That has the ability to damage your normal cells, okay? So what antioxidants are, they are nutrients that have the ability to provide that missing electron to neutralize the free radical and make it harmless again. So again, megahydrate, it's not something that you have to believe in like Santa Claus. We have done hundreds of live cell tests with this antioxidant, and when you look at a free radical damaged blood cell, it has a characteristic look. So you give them the megahydrate, wait 30 minutes, and then do a second test, and the damage from the free radicals has resolved in the majority of cases. So please read that chapter as well on antioxidants. Okay, next we have minerals. Everybody knows that vitamins and minerals are essential nutrients for humans, right? But the problem is there are two reasons why 80% of the population is mineral deficient. The first reason is that today we have only 5% as much minerals in our topsoil as we had 100 years ago. The second reason is that when we eat all this processed food, the body's efforts to try and metabolize it and get it out expends what little minerals we do have. So for those reasons, the majority of our population is mineral deficient. So mineral supplementation is absolutely necessary in any program of detoxification. But what the doctors Ashmead taught us, they learned how to engineer a special type of mineral called chelated minerals, which are much different from the regular multi-mineral you buy in the drugstore. Those kind of minerals, drugstore minerals, if you're lucky, they have a 5% absorption at the cellular level. Chelated minerals, by contrast, have up to 95% absorption. So they're much better. Please read the entire chapter, the minerals chapter on the site. It has all the science there. Okay. Next is hydrolyzed collagen. Now, as you know, all the parts of your body are made of collagen. Your muscles, your skin, your bones, your organs, your arterial system, everything is made of collagen. Unfortunately, as time goes by, collagen production falls way off. And evidence of this is the sagging that we notice of skin and organs, and also atrophy of muscles if you don't exercise. So, of course, there's collagen, usable collagen in the foods we eat, especially animal products, but that food must be broken down into its component parts before it can be used as building blocks to, rebuild the body's own new collagen. This supplement, hydrolyzed collagen, comes from the best possible sources, broken down into the smallest possible usable molecules at 3,000 Daltons, and it's already in the form of the building blocks of your body's own new collagen. The way you take it is, it's a powder. You take 3 tablespoons, blend it in juice, once or twice a day. And again, the evidence of this, we've had so many, literally hundreds of stories, people who have joint replacement surgery scheduled, and then after a few months of taking hydrolyzed collagen, they will cancel the surgery. You can look at those stories at the Doctor Within. Please read the chapter called Hydrolyzed Collagen. It has all the science. Finally, this is the last one, because we said we were going to keep it to the minimum number. Our number has been 7 for all this time, right? And this is oral chelation. Our goal is to detox the tract and the blood, of course, in this 60-day program, right? But we discovered that things like Digestive, even though it does clear out the bloodstream, it can only clear things that are water soluble. Plaque, unfortunately, is kind of like rubber or plastic. It has this very hard consistency. It's not water soluble. So we needed something that could infiltrate it, soften it, and then break it down so that it could be flushed through the arterial system. The other advantage of this particular formula is these herbs have the ability to bind heavy metals like aluminum, mercury, lead, cadmium, things like that. And that's why it's so useful for people who are doing the autism detox protocol. Also, we've had so many patients who will call in and they've had chronic angina for years. And after just a few weeks of phase 2, that's 3 capsules in the morning, right? They'll talk about angina resolving. So those are the 7 supplements. That's really just the fastest introduction. Excuse me for going at such lightning speeds here. So what results can somebody reasonably expect from doing the 60-day detox program? Well, what I've noticed over the years is that people will get some kind of success, whether it's a vast improvement in their life or complete resolution of their chief complaint, but only if what? If they actually follow the program, if they actually religiously stick to the New West diet, and take all 7 supplements at their prescribed dosages. And why would this be true? Because as Dr. Bergman has been telling us for years, what are diseases? Diseases are merely normal adaptations to abnormal stressors. So if we're going to remove many of these abnormal stressors, both from the foods that we're adding in every day in our diet and from the residual poisons that we've accumulated in our tract and blood, well, we're bound to improve. And that's why people with allergies, type 2 diabetes, IBS, obesity, even autism, mainstream medicine has an abysmal track record for curing these diseases. That's because they don't address the immune system. This is my final slide here. What is the immune system? Well, the immune system is one of those phrases, one of those expressions that everybody uses, but so few people can define. The immune system is the only way that you recover from any imbalance or disease, right? Most of the way the mammalian immune system works is unknown. But what we know for sure is that the immune system is really of no interest to organized medicine. It's simply not their area. And that's why it's kind of unfair to expect a coherent answer from your doctor when you ask him, what is the immune system? Here's what we know for sure about the immune system. It is supported by optimum cellular nutrition and detoxification. So this brings us back to our cover slide, thedoctorwithin.com. Please look at the chapters when you get a chance, as well as look at the stories in the feedback and testimonial section and the newsletter archive. Thank you very much for bearing with me, Dr. John.
Buddy, it is really vital information. And I got a couple of questions. Okay, so the probiotics, do they need to be refrigerated, and why not?
You answered your own question. No, they don't need to be, but all of these supplements should be kept in a cool, dark place. Now, if you live in a hot climate like in Phoenix or something, then I would say refrigerate them. But if you anywhere else, no, they don't need to be refrigerated. Now, the total Florabiotics, they are the most perishable of the 7, but they have a shelf life of more than 2 years. The rest of the supplements have a shelf life of 3 years. Good question.
Cool. Now I work with a lot of leaky gut and people, from chronic states of stress, and also that's a contributing factor to allergies. Does Expel any contraindications using Expel with someone with leaky gut or bowel inflammation?
No, of course not. In fact, those are two of the conditions that respond most dramatically to expel. So I always say with expel, we've been using it for more than 15 years on thousands of people, right? And I always say about expel, it's not a question of is it going to work? It's just a question of how long is it going to take for it to work for you? But you have to take it every single day. And it really does work just the way I'm describing. It chips away at the layers of sludge. And then you've heard of the expression mucoid plaque, I'm sure, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a favorite of Dr. Anderson. In his book, he has photographs of that. But these people talk about, and it's been in you for years. At one point, an enormous amount will come out of you, like one morning. And I always say, what is the alternative to all that stuff coming out of you?
It's staying in. I know, it's toxic.
Precisely.
Yeah, I'm being totally devil's advocate because I've had to answer the same questions when I refer people over to your site. We do an apprenticeship program. You might want to hit the stop share screen. When you look at this, the immune system, it's mythical. It's literally how your body responds to the environment. And almost nothing the medical system does is to help it. Now, there's certain medical procedures, okay, that are causing a massive agglutination of the red blood cells. Okay, I mean, huge. And I know you see this, you do dark field, so do we, okay, where the cells are literally stacking together so it looks like a roll of coins. The enzymes, how effective is that for the rule of coin?
The answer to that question is, Doc, when you've done so many hundreds and hundreds of before and after tests, we were trained to use the enzymes and the antioxidant. And the majority of time you see the dissociation of the rouleau formation into separate red cells, how important that is. And here's why it's so important. I learned this. Your capillaries are only 7 microns in diameter, and that is the exact diameter of a red blood cell. They were designed to go through single file through your arterial system, right? Now they're biconcave discs, so both sides of them, their job is to what? The hemoglobin binds oxygen. How can it bind oxygen if they're all stacked up like a stack of poker chips from Reno, right? You just cut your surface area exponentially by keeping all your red cells clear all day, every day for 60 days, because you're going to take 3 of these enzyme capsules 3 times a day. You have exponentially provided oxygen to all the cells of your body, which is one of the primary things we can do to enhance the immune system.
It's huge. Your brain, 2.5 pounds, burns 90% of the body's oxygen. So, and the reason when you're looking at this, red blood cells should be separate. They should have like an electronegative charge. So anything that can separate them means that it can get to joints better. It can do its job better. I mean that's huge when you're talking about immune system, brain function, everything. And now I like the hydrolyzed collagen. And again, one thing, how long between blood sample 1, you give them the enzymes, how long of a space of time? Do you need like a few hours, a day, a few minutes? What?
30 minutes was our standard.
30 minutes, and you'd see changes in the blood.
But John, we always advised that it was a fasting sample.
Okay, cool. Very, very cool. Okay, I mean, it's fantastic because we do live blood cell analysis on every patient, and anything that can get those red blood cells separate.
About the red cells separating, John, I wanted to say, once the patients see that after, you don't have to talk to them about it anymore. They just want to know, how quick can I buy it? They just want to get. You don't have to explain anything. They already know.
That's fantastic. The hydrolyzed collagen, what's the difference between that and standard collagen?
It really refers to the hydrolysis, because as you remember from school, collagen is the longest protein in our bodies, And this is animal collagen that we're hydrolyzing. Hydrolyzing means we're splitting the long chain collagen protein into short peptides and amino acids. And with this particular collagen, I had to travel to Europe in order to discover the source of this. And I toured their factory, their amazing, huge, enormous factory. And they told me every step of everything that they do. And it's the molecular size. It's the molecular size of the end product that you're actually buying and mixing in juice. 3,000 Daltons is the smallest possible usable peptide that you want to employ as a collagen supplement. And what I discovered was this, John. Most of the collagen that is for sale in GNC or at the drugstore or the supermarket, most of this, it's very cheaply made. It involved acids and heat, and it was damaging to the actual collagen molecule. I found out that in most commercial collagens that you buy in the store, the end molecule was like 45,000 Daltons large, which is 15 times larger than our hydrolyzed collagen. So that took me a long time to find. I had to travel to Germany to find that one out.
Okay, and for everybody that's watching this, when you figure you're only alive because you're able to get the amino acids from the proteins, and that's your basic building product. So you're talking, this is readily available. So when a person's in a stressed state, they don't have enough stomach acid to get it. So this stuff is already the building product that you could use. That's why, Doc, I love your stuff.
It requires no further metabolizing. It's ready to use, start building blocks of your body's own new collagen. Exactly right.
Okay, now one of the things, so your cleansing and the 60 days makes sense because it's 120 days to replace every red blood cell.
Right.
And so you're doing half of the entire production with healthy nutrients. You're giving your body, it's like pushing a rock down a hill. You're getting it started. What about food addictions, food cravings? And you're talking about gone cold turkey in a week. I mean, how does that work?
Yeah, that's excellent. It's the enzymes and the water are, in my opinion, are primarily responsible for ending the food addictions. What I discovered, Doc, in treating so many patients with this program is that people always say, they talk about the monkey on their back, the sugar addiction. I must have my glazed donuts and my candy bars and sugar in my coffee and tea. It's amazing when somebody makes like a commitment to themselves and somebody decides, I'm going to do this no matter what because I'm sinking fast, I'm literally dying. What they notice is that those food addictions that they always talk about, that they use as an excuse to keep eating ice cream and Diet Dr. Pepper, they weren't as bad as they thought. And when they start having more energy than they've had for years, and they feel much better, the food addictions usually resolve within the first couple weeks if they are religious about adhering to the program.
Yeah, religious means sticking with it. This is hugely important, okay, that people get the idea. You give the body the right nutrients, the right materials, the right building products, and the right workers, which is the enzymes. And then you have the chance to build a healthy body. I mean, it just seems so basic. Now, I know we've got some show specials, and I don't think you're advertising that Doctor Within. The drwithin.com site has got so much information, and it's not just, it's in every different type of health condition. Cool. I mean, we covered just about everything. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, there is something that I would like to have. First of all, how grateful I am for giving me this opportunity. But second of all, I want you people to know who this guy is that you look at every week. I mean, this guy is one of the most visible and important chiropractors in the entire world. I mean, you have like 2,000 videos out there, more than that, right?
Yeah, a bit more.
What years of complete and full commitment to the principles of holistic health and chiropractic, the expression of that in a living, breathing clinic. avail yourselves of that opportunity. And anybody who lives in Southern California, you want to visit Dr. Bergman's clinic in Huntington Beach.
God bless you, Doc. I miss the cruises. We have gone. We used to have a cruise every year.
Yeah.
And you were on, I think, every cruise.
Yeah.
And it was just a blast. I mean, seeing the world and educating people.
We got to do that again when they stop treating people like prisoners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it may take a few years, but we're going to get back out there.
Great.
God bless you, man. Keep fighting the fight, because I mean, I have been following you since even before I was a chiropractor. So this is, I mean, you've always been a hero of mine. And this is part 2. We've got to do part 3, brother.
Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing this information.
Back at you, Dr. Bergman. Thanks so much.
God bless you, brother.